In today's video, we're going to talk about the two basic ways to install replacement windows. One is called jump in the frame, and the other is called full tear-out replacement. We're going to explain the pros and cons of each one, and let's see which one might be the best for you and your project. Hi, I'm Jeff Ludy, the window expert. I'm here in Houston, Texas today with Jeremy Devereaux. Jeremy is our Chief Production Officer. So we're here at this job in Houston, Texas, beautiful home, wonderful homeowners who have allowed us to do some filming here. And we have a window here and a window there, and we're gonna show you both installation options, and then that way you can decide which one's the best. So Jeremy, this is a full tear out, meaning that what? What's happened here?
We completely removed the entire window and we got all the way back to, you can see the rough framing and the brick. We just flashed it. That's the only reason you don't see the framing right now.
Okay, so basically we went back to 1953 when this house was built, right?
Right, correct.
Now we're back to just the studs, and so we're gonna get a whole new window and put in there.
Correct.
Okay, jumping the frame over here. Here we're jumping the frame. Now what's the difference between that and this?
So this frame stays just like it is. We remove the glass and the moving part of the window, which is the sash.
Okay.
And when the window was measured, if we would have done it this way, we didn't. Instead of measuring the brick opening,
which is like 36 inches
right,
out,
you have to measure to slip inside, and that turns it into a 31.5 inch window.
Ah,
so big difference.
So the first con to doing a window inside of a window is what?
You lose a lot of glass.
You lose a lot of glass. So now on a 6-foot window, you probably wouldn't notice it, right? But these are 3 feet wide windows, and then you've got what? A bathroom window that's usually 2 feet wide.
Right.
By the front door, some houses have a little
side lights.
a 12-inch window. So if you're going to lose 6 inches of glass on a 12-inch window, it's going to look like that federal penitentiary window, right? That little skinny
right.
one. Okay, good. All right, so in this case, you're saying that we're going to leave this, but we're going to pull this out, and then our new window is going to sit inside of this window.
Right.
We're putting a window inside of a window, and then we're just going to basically, we would seal it from there so it doesn't leak.
And trim it out.
Okay, all right. So what are the advantages? Why would California, for example, say, hey, you have to leave this in place? What are the advantages to leaving the old window frame in place?
Well, for the people installing, it's much faster. But for California, their purpose for doing it is in behind the brick and the stucco, there's a nail flange, and it should all be waterproofed before this exterior even goes up.
Okay, so in new construction, you would have had like a house wrap, like a Tyvek or something. Then the window would have laid over that, and they would have had a sealant behind there. It's called back caulking. Then they would have attached that. And what California is worried about is you're going to now, when you collapse that frame, you're going to remove that barrier, right? That water shield barrier between the house and the window, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so in some cases, this is a better way to go because you're not disrupting the original seal between the house and the window frame. Is that correct?
It can be.
Okay, so then how is it that we could do a full tear out and still have the confidence that this window won't leak?
Because we flash the opening properly. And most people just don't do that. They remove the frame, they stick the new window in a rough opening, and just caulk the outside.
Okay, so they put caulk on the outside, caulk on the inside, but there's nothing that prevents water from coming down. Say, like I see there's a big vent up there, right?
Right, those are very bad about leaking in the storm. High winds and stuff. The water gets behind the siding and it is in between the wall.
Right.
And it should work its way out. There's weep holes. Here's one right here.
Yeah, I see that.
They work their way out. But if you remove that nailing flange and don't flash it properly, that's where it could expose a leak right on top of the window.
So the water would run down the window, it would sit on the top of the window, and then it would come into the house.
Correct.
And that's why sometimes homeowners call from work, not our work, but other homeowners call from work that's been done somewhere else, and they say, my window's leaking. And I ask them, the first question I ask, is it leaking from the top or is it leaking from the bottom? When they say it's leaking from the top, what does that mean?
There's a leak in the house above the window.
Somewhere above the window, it is just manifesting itself in the window.
Right.
Okay, so we created a system that actually restores the water flow back to the original condition of the house without having to jump the frame. You and I have perfected that over the last 12, 13 years, and we made a great video about that, specifically how to install a leak-proof window, and there's a link up here for it, and then down in the description. I think if you're going to do a full tear out, really this is what you're going to want.
You have to.
You have to.
You need a consistent drainage plane. It starts from the top and it, like shingle effect, it rolls downhill.
Rolls down.
You can't have a stopping point.
Can't have a stopping point, and
Right.
it can't come into the house.
Right.
Okay. So then once you do that, then you're going to, of course, seal it and make it look pretty. But the caulking really is just more for connection between the house and the window, right?
It is.
That's not what's going to weatherproof our windows.
Right.
Okay, perfect. I can think of another advantage to jumping the frame is it costs less to do that.
It does.
Right, because
Man
there's
hours.
less man hours involved, less materials involved. And so I think sometimes people say to me on my email channel, on a YouTube channel, or I get emails, they say, Jeff, I got quotes from 2 different companies, and one company was $20,000, the other one was $15,000. That's one of the first questions I ask is, are they jumping the frame? Because if they are, it should cost less, right?
Right.
Yeah, so there's more work involved to do it right and to give you all of what you want back. I think what I hear from people sometimes that I think they're surprised is, I bought windows, I know they're installed right because somebody jumped the frame, they did a good job, but I did not realize it was going to be like a bad haircut, like my house was going to look so much different. And vinyl windows are already, in most cases, they're kind of a wide profile. Imagine now having even extra vinyl on top of that, right?
I think another reason companies jump frame is the chances of any damage are hardly nothing because they're not removing the frame. We remove that frame completely. There's a chance of a little sheetrock damage or a nail on a seal popping, which we fix those things.
Right.
But when you just remove this sash and this glass, and you're not prying on the house, there's no damage.
Right, because to get this out, we do have to pry against the
do.
brick, we have to pry against the sheetrock.
Right.
It's kind of like pulling teeth. You have to have something to pull against.
Right. So some companies just don't want to deal with that, so they'll jump frame just for them.
Okay.
Selfishly, I think.
So over here we have the 2 different types of frames for windows. As you can see, this is what we call the jump the frame product, and this is the block frame. So if you notice, this actually goes edge to edge from where our framing is, right? And this one goes on the inside. You can see the inside of this. This actually goes against where your old window was, and then it has this flange here. Some people call this a Z flange. This flange here is to cover up the old part of the window, right, Jeremy?
As much as possible, and sometimes it doesn't even cover it all
Doesn't
up.
even do it. Like in this case, if I put this up in there, like if this was going to go there, you can see how that would cover that part of the window that we're going to leave here, because this is staying.
Right.
So that would cover that, but then nothing covers this. So in a way, you can still see your old window.
Right.
Right, with the new window laid over the top of the old window.
Right.
But here's the real issue: is like, look at where the glass was originally. Right.
Exactly.
See that line? And now look at where the glass starts. So you can see how we've lost a little over about an inch and a half of glass right here on this side, and of course we lose another inch and a half of glass over on that side. So this actually makes this window narrower. And in some cases, like this is a bedroom, this window might get so narrow it won't even meet egress.
It may not.
It may not meet egress. So that's one of the things that we have to always be aware of when we're comparing a jump to frame versus a full tear-up. Okay, so why don't we see what this looks like? Let's get the guys to pull the rest of this window out, and then we can actually see the difference between our openings between the 2.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay, so Jeremy, we got that window out. That was pretty easy. I can see why that does save time, which saves money.
Absolutely.
And now this was pretty much ready. If we were jumping the frame, from here we would just install our window, correct?
Right.
Okay, so why don't we do this? Why don't we take a measurement here of this opening, and let's see how we're going to compare the left side to the right side on these 2 options here. So what is that? How would you have measured that window? To what point?
I would have taken a little bit off. I would have made that 31.25.
About 31.25. Okay, let's go see the other opening. All right, so this opening is prepped, and we have the window ready to go in, just so you can see the difference. What would you have measured that one to?
I'd make this one 35 3/8.
Okay, my gosh, so this is a little over 4 inches here of difference between the 2. Okay, so let's put this window in so you can see just pretty much how this window is going to fill up that opening, and we're going to go back to the original amount of glass space that the house had before we got here. All right, so the window's in. Now we're going to obviously seal it, and we're going to screw it down and all. But Jeremy, so what would need to happen after this? You're going to put sealant here.
So we foam it first.
Okay.
We put our foam in there after it's leveled and screwed down and
Right.
everything. We foam all the way around, and we let all that expand
Okay.
and help seal. And then after that, we clean that up, and then we get our tape and we put our nice, clean, straight caulking lines on there all the way around.
So essentially what we're saying is we're going to end up with as much glass as we had here before, whereas over there we would have lost almost 6 inches, but a little over 5 inches worth of glass before we were done.
A lot of glass, yes.
And we don't actually have that metal, the side of that metal frame like we see over there,
Right.
to contend with.
I would have never wanted to do that over there, but I would have had to create another piece of trim. I wouldn't have wanted to leave that sticking
Right,
out.
and that's
Yeah.
one more thing that could fall off or fall apart or
Right.
needs maintenance down the road. So this is really, in most cases, I would say this is the best way to do it. What percentage do you think, Jeremy, of our jobs are done this way versus jump the frame?
Oh, 99.9% are this way.
Okay.
We'll probably do 2 a year where it's stucco. They're very concerned about the stucco. They've already had the stucco ripped off the house because they had leaks, big problems, and they're just like, I don't want to touch the stucco.
Gotcha.
That's the only time we'll do a jump frame, usually.
Right. Okay, I hope this video has been helpful. If you're looking for a great window company near you, check out my website, thewindowexperts.com. I can point you in the right direction. If you live in Houston, please come by. I'd like to meet you. Come into our beautiful showroom, take a look around. But we look forward to talking to you on the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Have a great day. We'll see you again real soon.